Well, hello again. Hopefully, you recognize me from the talk that I did where we talked about how to turn your big ass dreams into reality. And I shared with you the 6 keys on how to do that. And I also shared with you that within you is this magnificent I am presence that you can connect into at any point in time. So today I wanted to share with you, how do you start to have a deeper relationship with that invisible side of your nature that is actually here to guide you from where you are now to what it is that you desire. That is its goal for you. And so it is there to lead you and guide you, but you got to learn how to work with it in order to access this mind of infinite intelligence. So I'm going to share with you today exactly how you can do that. So let's begin. Let's imagine for a moment that this mind of infinite intelligence has the answers to all of your problems, knows exactly what is necessary to get you from where you are to where you want to go, knows what your goals, your dreams, and ambitions are. And you are able to, at any moment in time, receive downloads, ideas, information from that part of yourself. This is referred to by many names. People call it the higher self. And what a lot of people don't know is the higher self or higher mind is one with all that is, has access to information, is unlimited in its awareness of all that is. So understanding that this part is actually a part of you. You're not separate from it. It's not separate from you. However, you're having an experience in physicality right now where you see yourself as separate. And you also have a mind which is known as the mind of the ego, the mind of the small self, that thinks very differently from this higher aspect. And so learning the difference between the two and how to begin to change this limited thinking that comes from the small self is a large part of the process. So here's a strategy that I can share with you today, where you begin to recognize I've got some limited thinking, some small thinking that is keeping me from actually taking steps towards even seeing the next steps to what I could be doing to create this bigger vision that I have for my life. Because if you remember, the first step was to get clear on what is that bigger vision for your life, and allow yourself to receive those downloads from your higher self, writing those out and journaling on them and getting really clear, and then putting them in present tense and saying, I am this, I have this is my life now. So that's step one. But then step two is really beginning to stay in tune with what's the next steps I can take to begin to create this life that I love. And that's where working with the higher mind really becomes important, because the mind of the small self has become conditioned to look at your current set of circumstances to decide what's possible. So it'll look at your bank account, it'll look at your calendar, and it'll say, oh, I can't do that, I'm too busy, or I don't have enough money, or here's all the reasons why you shouldn't do this thing. And so understanding that the small self actually is designed to keep you separate from this bigger dream or vision that you have, because it's currently programmed at the level of living that you have right now. So what you're experiencing now comes from the state of thinking that you currently have. It runs like a program. And it's a series of beliefs, and those beliefs lead to thoughts, and those thoughts determine the actions you take. So understanding it's a program that you basically have to upgrade in order to have different results, different experiences is important, because you begin to recognize I've got some old programmatic thinking that is keeping me stuck or right where I'm at. And if I want to have a different level of living, I have to upgrade that software within my own mind. So the strategy is to help you learn how to upgrade your thinking and begin to operate more like that part of yourself who has created the results that you imagine. Okay, so this process is very simple. The first thing is let's say that an opportunity comes to you, or even an idea, because the higher mind works with ideas. So can the lower mind. So you have to learn to distinguish the two. But ideas are your first currency. So maybe you get this idea, I should call this person. And then the lower mind comes in and goes, yeah, but here's all the reasons why you shouldn't. And it is very persuasive in talking you out of it. Okay, so let's say that you have a particular situation where you see an opportunity, because one of the things I want you to know is you're not going to see all the steps to what it's gonna take to get you to where you want to go, but you will see the next step. And the question is, do you take that next step, or do you let the small mind talk you out of it? So I have a great analogy that hopefully will help you kind of visualize what this process looks like. So imagine there's a stone wall and you are a rock climber, and there's little juts or little ledges that stick out from the rocks that are enough for you to grip on. But you can't, as you look up the wall, you can't see all the little juts and exactly which ones you're going to take in order to get to the top. So as a rock climber, you begin to say, okay, I just need to find the next ledge that I can grip on, pull myself up, and then I will see the next little ledge after that. And literally, when you watch a rock climber, I mean, there's just enough room to kind of get a finger hold on it and pull themselves up. That's why I think most people are just kind of like, I can't believe these people do this, right? Because you watch them and you think, I honestly had no idea that your fingers had that much strength, your body had that much strength that you could do something like that. And there's so much faith and trust that goes with just trusting that you're going to be able to find the next ledge and the next ledge and the next ledge, as well as you're overcoming the fear of, I might fall, I might not see the next step, but I also might fall, I could die, I could lose my life. So it's a good analogy of, I might fail, I might start to take these steps and I might slip and I might trip and I might fall and I might fail in this big endeavor that I have, which is the dream. And so you've got to begin to learn to trust and have faith. In other words, see the next ledge, get a finger hold on it and pull yourself up. And only from there are you going to see the next ledge. And only once you pull yourself on pull yourself up to that next point of view, are you going to see the next ledge. And so this is the process by which you climb towards those bigger goals and dreams that you have. Now think about that for a moment, and also recognize that most of these rock climbers, not all, have a safety mechanism in place. And that safety mechanism is a harness. So one of the things that they do is they look for fissures or cracks within the rocks, and they carry a bag of metal stakes. And they find a crack in the wall that they think will hold the stake, and they have a little hammer and they hammer it in. Now their harness system is connected to that stake in the wall. Well, in building your dream, right, building towards your dream, there's going to be times where you need to put your stake in the ground. You're going to have to say, I'm claiming this, I'm anchoring myself into this location, and I'm going to claim this as done. I've achieved this level, and I'm going to anchor myself here so that even if I slip and fall, at least I know I'm anchored to this spot. Now, what that looks like when it comes to designing your dream and starting to build towards it is that you begin to say, okay, what can I do to anchor myself here so I don't slip all the way back? How can I assure myself that I continue to move forward towards that dream and not talk myself out of it again? And those are stake in the ground moments where you say, I need to put my money down. I need to sign that contract. I need to block that time out with that person on my calendar and make it a non-negotiable, meaning you're not going to talk yourself out of it. You're going to be all in. And that stake in the ground moment creates a shift in your energy from, I might do this, maybe, to I'm all in no matter what. I'm going to do what it takes to get to that next step. Do you see the difference in that? The shift in yourself, your shift in your own mentality creates a shift in the way that you are working with yourself and also with the universe. You're basically communicating to the universe, I'm serious about this. I'm committed. I'm taking the steps. You can see it now. I've committed to the contract. I've committed to the payments. I've committed to the calendar or the appointment on my calendar. I'm committed. And when you say that to your higher self, the higher self says, okay, I'm going to now give you your next step. But if you don't take the next step, then the higher mind goes, I can't give her the next step after that because she hasn't taken the step I've given her. You see the process here? So beginning to understand that your job is to take the next step and that your higher mind is waiting for you to take that next step. You are sitting in a holding pattern until you make a decision to jump all in. Now, what happens is in that moment, you have the small self telling you all the reasons you can't, and they're legit. Like you look at your calendar, it's super crowded. You've got a ton of things on there, maybe bustling your kids from here to there. Maybe you've got an appointment, you're a caregiver for your mom or your dad. You've got all these things on your calendar that are pulling on you. And then you look at your bank account and you're like, I don't possibly know how I can afford this. Well, that is the small self side of things, the side that comes from limitation and lack. And so just recognize that for a moment. Oh, this is my old programming that always tells me I don't have enough time and I don't have enough money. And I know that I need to shift that so that I can begin to take the next step. So here's a question you ask yourself. And that question is simply this. It's like, what can I do? I know that I have access to the mind of infinite intelligence. I know I have access to a mind that can see all the solutions and all the possibilities and all the ways that I can bring this about. And so for a moment, I'm going to trust that somewhere within me is an idea or solution that is going to take me to the next step. So right there, you create a shift of thinking from I don't have access to, or I can't do it, where you shut the idea down. And you create a shift in thinking to where you're like, I can do it. I know there's a way. I'm going to keep one corner of my mind open to the possibility that this is possible for myself. And I'm going to trust and ask that my higher self give me some ideas about that. Now, you may have heard this, but you cannot receive the idea or the answer at the same level of thinking that is coming from the problem, because the one that's generating the problem is the small self. So if you continue to try to find answers, I'm going to try to figure out is a common phrase that I hear people say, I'm going to try to figure out. That is your indicator that you're trying to find solutions from the mind of limited thinking, from the mind of the small self. So you're not trying to figure it out or trying to think of solutions. In fact, you want to get yourself completely off the topic and allow yourself to receive downloads, ideas, and even resources of people that are going to come to mind that you know are going to be able to take you in the direction of the dream. So you say, I'm going to take my mind off of it. This mind of the small self, I'm going to take my mind off of it and I'm going to go do some other things. Now, sometimes that other thing might be you're sleeping on it. Some people say, I need to sleep on it. Sometimes that is you're going for a walk, you're doing painting, you're going out with your friends. You're just whatever you need to do to stop thinking about it and just wait until you receive a download or an idea. And then you might go, oh, I just thought about how I could at least make that initial payment. I may not know how to make all the payments or how to do the whole thing, but I got an idea on the next step I can take, which is how to make that initial payment. So, for example, when I was thinking about how I could sign up with my first mentor, and I was in a 12-month mastermind with her, I didn't know how I was going to pay for the whole thing. but I knew I had enough money on my credit card to pay the initial amount. So I said, okay, I'm going to pay the deposit, put my stake in the ground, and claim this. This is my next step. This is the one I can see. This is the one I'm going to take. And so I signed the contract and I said, I'm going to invest in this program. I don't know how I'm going to pay for the whole thing, but I can see the next step. I know how to make the initial payment. So I did that. Now, I allowed the mind, right? I slept on it. And by the next day, I had actually come up with a great idea of how I could pay for the rest. And so I was like, I don't know why I didn't think about that. Well, it's because I hadn't taken the step yet. Once I took the step, then the higher mind had access to give me the next idea. So then I got the idea, oh, I have an inheritance from my parents that I have access to. I totally forgot about it. I could use some of that money to pay for this program. And then I was able to pay for the program. It worked out great. There's other times though where I didn't have an inheritance sitting there. You know, not everybody has that, where I couldn't see how to make the next payment, but I got another idea. I could take a loan on my vehicle, or I could do this, or I could do that. I would get different ideas and insights. I could sell some courses, right? I could attract more clients. So there's different ways, there's unlimited ways in which the infinite can work with you to help you generate enough cash in order to take that next step. But you've got to be willing to be open-minded and receive all those ideas. And I've worked with people who go, no, that won't work. No, that won't work. No, that won't work. That's the mind of small thinking. Instead, what we want to do is shift it to, how could that work? If it were possible, how might that work? And that shifts from, again, the small mind to the high mind. The high mind will go, oh, I have an idea about that too. And it will download that as well. So moving from a mind of limitation of it's not possible to a mind of it's possible, I just need to allow the ideas to flow through, is the transformation we're talking about here. It's a practice that you put in your life on a regular basis, because most of us have a habit of talking ourselves out of things, telling us why we cannot do it. We let the small mind dominate. What I'm teaching you is how to train yourself to begin to access the mind of the higher self. So every time that mind tells you it's not possible or you can't do it, you say, no, I know it's possible. And I know the high mind knows how to make it possible. And you begin to allow yourself to receive ideas, because remember, you have to shift frequencies. The level of thinking of the small mind is a low frequency thinking. And so you need to take your mind off of it, go do something fun or positive, and it shifts you into a positive state in which you now can access those thoughts, higher vibrational thinking. And that's determined by, am I doing stuff that's dropping my emotions down, dropping my frequencies down, or am I on a channel of possibility? Maybe I'm just laughing, I'm having fun, I'm not thinking about things, I'm just having a good time with my friends. It shifts your frequency up enough where now you can receive the ideas from the higher mind. So for those of you who are aware of how frequencies work, that's how you work with the frequencies. Low frequency thinking comes from lack. I can't do it. It's not possible. Those are low frequency thoughts and emotions that are not going to serve you in achieving that big dream. So hopefully this helped give you an idea of how do you take the next step that you can see towards that big ass dream of yours. How do you actually work with the high mind to begin to move yourself in that direction, receiving the next idea and acting upon it, and then receiving that next idea and then acting upon it. This is the work to be done to bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to go. So if this was valuable to you, there's a comment down below. Please take a moment and write a comment sharing with me, what did you get from this video? What was your biggest takeaway today? And I also want to invite you, for those of you who are interested, I have a collaborative where I'm training you on this. I'm taking you through the Dream Builder program, which is helping you begin to think more harmoniously and work with and access that higher intelligence. So if you're interested in that, you need to let me know, okay? All right, wonderful to connect with you today. I hope you've got a ton of value and insight out of this, and please look out for my next video. I'll continue to share tips like this.